Hey there, fans. Welcome to the Mental Perk podcast, where we focus on real people, real issues, and real talk. I'm Carla Hutcherson. I'm a licensed professional counselor, and I am the director for the Hannah for Hope Foundation.
And I'm Brandy Mock, an executive board member for Hannah for Hope.
Today, we're going to welcome Towanda Smith. She's a professional bodybuilder and a fitness trainer, and we're going to talk about some great things today regarding fitness and mental health. So what we know from research that I've done is that fitness and mental health are directly related. We see a lot of improvement in people's mental health and their acuity when they're in some sort of fitness training program. What are your thoughts on that, Towanda?
This is true. When people are able to have a handle on their personal outcomes and can control the different things that they can control within making themselves a little bit better with their fitness efforts, it always yields positive benefits for mental health, in addition to physical health and wellness benefits.
Well, I know that I have been working with Towanda now for about 6 to 7 years, and I have to tell you, so many things about my life have changed. Like, I have been more positive, more energetic. I'm still working on that weight loss and getting that body that I always wanted, but, that's a process, as Towanda always tells me. But I'm just saying from personal experience, I have found that relationship between mental health and physical fitness. One thing that I did notice is COVID-19. It has, nationwide, has taken a toll on mental health, and seeing people really decline over that time and still struggling as we are healing from that crisis in our country. Towanda, what are your experiences with that? Did you see any changes during the COVID-19 period?
Definitely affected people in a negative fashion mentally. Additionally, because of the lack of normal movement with the rigmarole of just regular life when getting out of the house, that being removed, a lot of weight gain, health issues, eating, that came from being stressed from being home and not just being able to get out to do those normal activities came about. A lot of negative things with health and wellness.
So, how'd you find whenever everybody got acclimated and things started to open up again? Did you find like it was a massive reset for people physically to get back in the gym, had to convince themselves to get back on a good eating plan, all that good stuff? Was it hard? Did you see that? Did you see it with yourself?
Okay, two parts.
Okay.
I definitely saw a reset for people once they had the opportunity to get back to normal interaction with people. And even if they were not physically active prior to COVID, because the different weight gain that came about just from lack of activity and from increased dietary, challenges that might have came about, people were inclined to work out or go out and walk or really take advantage of the opportunity to be active. And the necessity was there for sure because of all the different weight gain that came about from not being able to get out and about.
Sure.
Yeah, we really struggled just to find fitness equipment at that time.
Exactly.
I remember you and I were like trying to go through all these websites, and everything was sold out. So
Yes.
people were trying to find a way to work out in their homes.
Exactly,
even.
yeah. The people that were, once people got kind of like cabin fever and were figuring out this was not, the situation was a little more than temporary, people really started trying to get fitness equipment to be active and be able to do things at home. And yeah, fitness equipment was so scarce. So then that posed a problem for even the people who might not have otherwise been trying to be active at home. When they wanted to, there was a lack of supply for equipment, and so the need became even higher.
I will say that one thing I did experience and witnessed was during COVID, you would see just kind of like you talked about earlier about people being forced to go outside. So
Yes.
One encouragement was they were getting sun, but then I also saw where they would form groups outside and they would start
Yes.
doing their own little cross training, and you were getting to know people that way and getting the sun at the same time because
Right.
they felt so isolated. So I thought that was what you touched on was very positive too.
Yes.
Other than being in an atmosphere where you're in the gym, they're forced to be outside. So I think all of us were kind of forced to be outside and
Yes,
walk.
and you
kinda,
wanted to be outside.
You did.
Because
You really
had a little
did.
cabin fever just from being in the house, forced to be in the
Yeah.
house. And then there were limitations even at the park for walking times or
Yeah.
just being exposed to others in the park. So those limitations really brought about a desire to be out. I think even also people who have pets or might have gotten pets during that time, being outside with their pets was I know me and my pups, we were playing outside way more than normal.
There was good and bad with it,
Yeah,
but
for
at the
sure.
same time, it was just what you said. We were being forced to come outside to actually enjoy, like you said, animals and people. So,
but by the same token, on the flip side, if you did not get outside, I mean, you were going to be stuck in your home.
Absolutely.
For sure. So that was a given.
right.
Sometimes, depending on where you were prior to COVID, it might have been tough to take the initiative to go outside and be creative because that wasn't your prior norm before COVID.
Agree.
And so it was a extreme challenge for some. You know?
Have you seen more people reach out since the COVID-19 era has ended?
Yes.
Do you think the gyms are more full?
For sure. Yes. Yeah. Yes, for sure.
Well, one thing I know about you, Towanda, and I know that people haven't seen what you do, and it's pretty amazing. And if you can, you need to go on to her social media, Black Wonder Woman Instagram.
Yes, at BlackWonder_woman. That's on Instagram.
Yeah, see what she does. It is pretty phenomenal. She is an amazing trainer and an amazing bodybuilder. But one thing she really does is she is always positive. Towanda, I don't understand. How do you maintain that positivity?
Well, I just love what I do. I love fitness. I love health and wellness. And I think with any bit of activity, which is why it really kind of caught on during COVID once people started tapping into some part of physical activity, health and wellness, definitely when you're physically active, you get these positive endorphins that are created. And so for myself, being a fitness enthusiast anyway, I just kind of am able to ride the wave with those extra endorphins that are created. And I just love it, you know.
I love the ride the waves, you know, with the extra endorphins. I have a quick question for you. When you see someone coming in that is challenged, they're overweight, they're not eating good, you're almost acting not only as a physical instructor, fitness instructor, and encouraging them physically, but you're also encouraging them mentally, correct?
Correct, yes.
And so how do you encourage someone that is coming in, they're way overweight? What's your motivation to them each day? Is it like a daily, hey, this is what I want you to focus on today to get to the gym tomorrow? How do you hold them accountable, and how do you keep them lifted up with good spirits, I guess you could say, to where they're motivated to work out and they see progress? Or if there's days when they don't see the progress, how do you motivate them?
I just try to keep it simple. I try to keep it really simple because we've all been there. I mean, we all have this idea of this perfect physique that we'd like to have. And even in our greatest point in life, we probably still had a more perfect physique than what we had then. You know, you think back, oh, when I was younger, I had this great physique. In hindsight, like, oh, man. But even when I was at that point, I probably was like, I wish I had this even more greater physique. So we all have these challenges. We always, with attaining the best, most functional, ideal physique. So I just make it relatable because at the end of the day, it comes down to three things. Your genetics, can't manipulate your genetics. They are what they are. And then your diet and your exercise. So just keeping it simple, trying to figure out how to better your efforts in your diet, better your efforts in your exercise, and then just making a small little plan to be progressive and consistent with those efforts, one little thing at a time, because it can be very overwhelming.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
It's a lot of different variables and facets of the perfect diet or the perfect training program. You know, you got to see what works for you and try to just be quality with those efforts at that time and build on that, you know?
Yeah.
And, I think one thing is within mental health, we get really focused on our bodies and this kind of dysphoria that goes along with that. And so social media really plays a part in that. How do you balance that with your clients that come in and they're so negative and they're talking so negatively about their bodies? How do you encourage them through that?
I just try to remind them of the reality. One, social media is, it is specific doctored best presentation of whatever somebody wants to put out there. Okay, so that is their best presentation of whatever it is, and it's a small snippet. It's not the whole picture. And regardless, that's their situation. Your journey is your journey. So your challenges are going to make your efforts either more challenging than the other person or less challenging. Regardless, it's your journey. So you can't get caught up on somebody else's progress or comparing others. You have to just think about your personal progress. Are you better than you were yesterday?
Yeah, that's very true. And I know sometimes in those workouts, and I want to quit, and you don't let me, right?
No, You
I'm
gotta
like,
keep it moving.
in my head, I am cussing you out.
I understand. I understand. The struggle is real. Yes, I understand.
But you come up with these great lines, and I know we've talked about making T-shirts off them, but you're like, 8 is great, or 25 to stay alive, or, you know.
Yes. Oh, yes.
So what are some more of your great
One
great
more.
ones?
I mean, just make it count. One more rep. Nobody's gonna die. You know what I'm saying? If you could do one, you could probably do one more. If your life depended on it, could you? If you think about it, you probably could.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, just doing what you can. Go for quality efforts. That's all you can do is as best as you can. But do try.
Yeah.
And go.
And
from
some
there.
days are not as good as others.
Exactly.
Right?
And then some days are better than others. You're human. We're human, so we got to remember that we are human. We are not perfect. We are striving for progress, not perfection.
Yeah, my goal in my journey, there's some days I just don't want to get up and get there.
Exactly.
But I make
understand.
myself, and I always feel better afterwards.
For sure. I think there is the only bad workout is the one you don't do.
This is very true. There's
never a bad workout. I mean, if you showed up, hey, you're already winning. The toughest part is showing up. So once you show up, everything else that might be your first initial goal. Just show up. If you have 1 or 2 minutes, you're creating habits is what this whole deal is about. The best diet, the best training program. Well, the best one is going to be the one you're going to do. And hopefully you do it efficiently, and hopefully it works for you. But you'll figure that out by first doing and trying to be consistent therein, and then kind of tweaking it. But it's relative to you. It's a science for you. And that changes just like our body changes, our hormones changes. Things we needed at 6 changed when we get 16, and when we get 26, they change to 56 or 46. Things change. Still the same you, but your program and template for life, just like with your diet and exercise, they change according to you.
So what do you tell people? Because I don't know about you, Carla, but I get a little stressed out when I don't work out at least 4 or 5 times a week. It literally just sets the mood. And then it's like, okay, 100%. My workout time's Monday through Friday. But it's really not Monday through Friday. It could be Saturday, Sunday. I can make it up. But it is what you said. It's a mental thing. So there's times whenever you get a little down on yourself if you don't work out 4 days a week as opposed to 5 days a week. What do you tell people whenever they're so tough on themselves about the regiment? I have to get somewhere to a place where I'm like, it's okay. But then I have to have someone like you remind me it's really okay.
It is okay. It is okay. I mean, you want to have a plan. Plan your work your plan. So do have a plan for your training and your dietary compliance, whatever that diet plan is. And then try to work your plan. Plan your work your plan. But life happens, so hopefully there's a plan B when something goes awry. And if there still is no plan B, hopefully your effort with plan A was quality, and you'll learn from the next time, okay, these are the modifications we're going to make. It's okay, though. Life happens.
Is it okay,
At the end of the day, nobody died.
No one died.
I mean, it's okay.
Right.
But, be easy on yourself.
Yeah. But do you see a lot of clients that are very hard on themselves whenever they're not able to make it, and it kind of sets them back a little?
Yes, and I just have to be mindful, like, hey, we got life, got all these other things that we're trying to be, juggle. Mm-hmm. So let's step back, replan, try it again. With consistency, your continued effort, you're going to get a little bit better.
It helps with people like you because you hold them accountable, but in a positive way.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we're so hard on ourselves.
And again, just showing up is winning.
Yeah.
Because now you're figuring out how to better do it.
Yeah.
But you still got to show up.
So one thing about mental health, we know many things in mental health are not a choice. There's something that happened to us, whether it's a genetic makeup or something that's going on with our body chemistry. Right. So these things are not a choice, the mental health issues that people have. But one thing we do have a choice on is being positive. Mm-hmm. And how do you incorporate that into your training?
Well, again, I think once you have to have that, well, you don't have to, but I have a can-do attitude. And so I figure if you can do one of anything, then you could probably do 2. You can just build on that. So so there's nowhere to go but up. And even if you are staying where you were, your mental ability to execute that same level of effort is still being heightened by your continued effort. So, it's only going to get better with your continued effort. So it's okay if you don't have a 10, 1 out of 10, 10 being great, 1 being not so great. Every day is not going to be a 10. Every effort is not going to be a 10. That's okay.
And one thing as a mental health professional and a researcher, what I know is that I really focus on seeing a case study, like seeing someone start and finish and kind of where the treatment does and how it improves their life. Mm-hmm. Can you give me kind of a case study in your situation of a client who's come in at one position and the hard work that they did and the dedication they had to incorporating fitness has changed their life?
Yes. One good thing is that comes from your, being more fit or tapping into your fitness and trying to have a handle on your wellness. You yourself are becoming a better version of yourself. So you're becoming more functional, more sound and confident in yourself and your abilities. So that's just going to make you a more positive person in doing whatever you do just because you personally feel like you're more sound, more healthy, a better version of yourself. So if you're a better version of yourself, then you can be a better version of yourself around others, which encourages them to be better versions of themselves. So it's a positive domino effect. So what was the question? I feel like I'm about to ramble.
Yeah, no, I was saying kind of a case study, something you could tell me about a client who came in with one situation.
So self-confidence is where I was talking about. So I have a client who came in for functional reasons of wanting to increase her ability to do things around the house. She was a recent widow, and she was now having to help take care of her mother. So she had some physical challenges herself, and she just wanted to be a more stronger individual so she could help to better assist with her mom and do different things around the house and not feel so burdensome and so labored with basic tasks. So just general strength and conditioning. And so we worked on that with that goal. Just me having a physical therapy and occupational therapy background, we went kind of to some basic level stuff, occupational therapy template, and incorporated some strength and conditioning training with it. And over time, her wherewithal with self, her self-confidence, her physical abilities were heightened, and she could do different things around the house and not be as fatigued, and she felt better about herself, and she felt more confident, and that affected her positively just in all facets of her life, in her social life, in her time at home, and actually being able to do more. And so it was a really wonderful positive thing. And then later on, she continued to really get even more into fitness and started to travel more because now physically she could do more walking, and she started playing music and joined a band and all this wonderful, awesome things that might have not been a consideration prior to her older, former, not as fit, well, strength and conditioned self. So it was good.
What do you tell people? Like, I know, I don't know about you, Carla, but I am one of these, I'm a scale. I like to jump on the scale. I like to weigh myself. And then when I see myself go up 2 pounds, I get a little discouraged. And I think a lot of it, too, is, when you're cross-training, you're doing a lot of training, you're eating right, those scales are going to change. And not necessarily, if they go up, it's not necessarily a negative thing because you're building muscle mass.
Exactly.
But there's the days whenever I'm not building that muscle mass, and I know I'm not, and the scale goes up. How do you encourage those people how do you educate them that staying off the scale is not a bad thing? How often do you tell your clients to get on or get off the scale or measure or all that good stuff?
I advise them to try not to do it every day. What is and once a week is fine. If you want to do twice a week, that's fine. But more than that is a bit much. And you just want to I say it's a bit much, but it's all relative to what your goals are, what you got going on. What are you trying to prepare for? But for normal life, once a week is fine. You just want to be mindful, even with your scale, that it's giving you a clear picture of what it's weighing. So I always advise, if you're going to get a scale, get yourself a scale that tells you your body fat also, because just to say your weight doesn't give you a full picture, a clear picture of your physique. You yourself, if you had a twin that weighed the same and she was more lean muscle, in theory, she'd probably be a little more shrink-wrapped, but she might be more weighty than you because she has more lean muscle. Versus your frame, if you had more body fat, you'd be like more of a plastic frame versus a glass frame, her being the lean muscle. So, you want to I'd say if you get your scale with that tells you your body fat as well as your regular weight, so you can identify the quality of your weight. Because in the big picture, you want to have a little more lean muscle mass and less body fat. and that's for just cardiovascular health reasons.
Right.
Ideally, it's recommended for you to have 25% body fat or less for cardiovascular health. You know, if it's a little bit more than that, just be mindful and just kind of check all your stats and make sure everything's well. But, you know, be mindful. But checking every day you don't want to get too caught up in that, because your water can affect your weight going up. Your hormones can affect your weight going up. Your sodium and sugar levels can make your weight go up. So these different variables can really skew the weight up and down, and it can kind of freak you out. And those variables are, you know.
I think my biggest thing when people go, am I getting fat? That's a question. And, you know, another thing, too, mental health I was raised with a mother that constantly asked her kids, do I look like I'm getting fat? Have I gained weight? And it
transitions to the kids.
It does transition.
Mental, yeah.
I find myself doing it to my kids every now and then.
Being self-conscious
right?
about that, yeah.
And then my kid came to me and she's like, Mom, do your pants still fit the same? And I'm like, well, that's kind of a good question. Do my pants still fit the same? Just to mute me.
Right, yeah.
Stop talking about it.
Uh-huh.
But it is a learned behavior,
It is,
I've
yes.
learned. And it can get discouraging sometimes because
Yes.
when you see that so much growing up, it just bleeds into you. And then
For sure.
I see it kind of bleed into my kids.
Yes.
So how do you get someone out of that mindset of what they've learned?
I just remind them how functional their physique is. Are you able to do these different things? Okay, are you functional? Forget the aesthetics, because you can be, quote unquote, what I call skinny fat, meaning you're skinny, but you have a high body fat, and that's not healthy. And you're probably not going to be as functional as your twin, who was a little weightier, who probably had a little more lean muscle mass, but it's a little more conditioned. Functionally, the heavier, more conditioned, more lean muscle mass twin is going to be more functional, but their weight's going to be heavier. Don't get caught up on the numbers. Think about how functional your physique is. And if you want to start to cut down and have a little, drop some LBs in, make a plan, manipulating your diet and your activity to where you can make a progressive pursuit of whatever that ideal weight is. And as you start making that journey, you may figure out that number's not even where you want to go. You might find out, I lost a little bit here and I look how I want to look. It's not even the number that I thought. And I'm functional and I'm, more fit and I can, do these different things that I couldn't before.
Yeah, that's been a hard thing for me to really accept, is not focusing on that number, but really realize I'm getting healthier. And so that's been really hard. So we focus a lot on mental health and depression, anxiety, because those are the things that are nationwide known. It's in the news all the time. But what we don't really focus on is a lot of times is the eating disorders. Do you see a lot of disordered eating?
Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely. In normal fitness and in bodybuilding. Yes. Lots.
Yeah. And so how do you manage that when you see that? Do you deal with a nutritionist? How do you get them to focus more on the nutrition and not the numbers?
I just reiterate the importance of the nutrition and how malnourished you're not going to be able to be as functional, and it's just not worth it. I just initiate the strong points of being healthy, having healthier pursuits.
Yeah, definitely. Yes. And so a nutrition is also part of your training.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Because it's such a huge part of
Yes.
it. You can't, the words you always say to me is you can't outwork
a bad diet. It's tough. I'm telling you,
And I've tried, believe you me.
I know
tried.
we all have. I'm telling you, we all have.
Well, the thing that I wanted to kind of focus in on as we kind of come around to the very beginning when we started talking about COVID-19 is one thing about COVID-19, it made fitness portable.
Yes.
And I wanted you to talk a little bit about that, because we had to recreate a gym in my living room at the time.
Right. Yes.
My daughter was going to get married right through COVID, and I
Yes.
had goals, and all the gyms shut down.
Yes.
So we just moved furniture and transformed
And made it work.
Yes.
Yes.
So
That was
talk
awesome.
about what you still see about portable fitness at this time.
Well, I think it definitely made it more common for people. And again, because we just got to move as a society. If we just move, have some consistent movement, we can always add on to that. But just to stay apart, we got to just move more, because all the different technology and the way that our, entertainment world and just the life, it's promoting minimal activity, which causes us to be overall more sedentary, and we just need to move. So to have the portability of doing different things, movement, activity at home. I think that just took off after COVID or during COVID, and it's been a safe haven, I think, for people to know, you know what, I can keep it simple, do it at home, or, do it when I'm traveling, what have you, and make it count. Because every little bit counts.
Yeah, and I've noticed, though, like, you don't have to have a big, expensive gym membership to be fit. Like, when I'm traveling, I'll tell you, I'm taking my bands, and I'm taking my 12-pound weights and my 20-pound weights, and you come up with a fitness program for me.
Yes.
So people can actually do this with just little bits of equipment.
Little bits of equipment. Yeah. That's all. Like, a dab will do you. You can have a light set of weights, heavy set of weights, or one heavy dumbbell, one light dumbbell, and a jump rope. Or no jump rope. You can air jump rope. You're good.
And I find
kettlebell.
I respond more to cardio. A lot of cardio and a lot of like my own body weight.
Calisthenic stuff.
Yes.
Push-ups, body
I'm in
squats,
better shape boxing
lunges.
when I box more than I am lifting weights. And so I think it's important, and I'm sure you
educate
educate them.
And switch it up.
Because your
There's
body
so
needs
much
to be
activity.
switched up,
Yes,
correct?
Yes, because you'll start to get acclimated to what you do. So just to switch it up just a little bit, going from boxing to jiu-jitsu, cardio kickboxing, Zumba, yoga, Pilates, pole dancing. I mean, you got so much, line dancing, jogging, golf, pickleball. I mean, there are all types of different things you could do. Hiking, walking the dogs, canine cardio. You got lots of options. You just got to do it. And then switch it on up. You might get a little like, this is not my thing. So much stuff to do and try it.
And there's a lot of people out there struggling with mood, and they're struggling with motivation, and they're like, oh, this is just so overwhelming to get started. So what are some of those?
Look for groups.
Yes.
Look for groups. There's somebody just like you with the same challenges and struggles that you have. Look for groups. Teamwork makes the dream work. So if you can find a partner, you're going to hold you a little more accountable. Like myself being an athletic trainer, I'm like your fitness partner. I'm like your cheerleader. So the same thing that I would do, if you find somebody that could do that with you, like a bud, a neighbor, they're going to hold you accountable. You guys can, again, it's going to be a good, fun time. So look for groups. They got groups on social media, people in neighborhoods. You got all kinds. So just seek them out. I mean, look for a group.
You find yourself.
Or a trainer. That'll be your partner.
I was going to say, do
your
you find yourself
your trainer might
needing
have
to be
groups.
motivated as well? I mean,
I
as
have
a
trainer, and
Good.
I have training groups that I love
Okay.
to train with, and I do individual training myself, but I do love my group training, and I have my coach. So, yeah, for sure. Because, just to switch it up from my own personal routines and to let somebody else have the burden of, now I'm not always on 10. 10 being most hyped up and all ready to go after it. Some days might be a 7 or a 6, and my goal is to be at a 10. So, that little teamwork gives me that extra push and holds me accountable. So
I love that.
For sure.
Yeah, and as people are just starting, just finding a friend and walking around the block or going on a bike ride or something of that nature. Just start with somebody so that you have an accountability
make a plan.
partner.
Plan your work your plan. Your plan might be for the next month, the next 8 weeks, I'm going to go for an hour walk at this time. Make it like it's a dentist appointment or a doctor's appointment. Schedule yourself time for yourself. And then try to make that appointment. If you can't make it, just like anything else, reschedule it. And try to get it in. And if you got a bud, then you guys hold each other accountable. Go for it. And the first goal might be just to get it in. It might not be a quality hour. It might be 30 minutes. And it might actually be once you get together with your neighbor, it might be actually 20 minutes. But that's okay. You're able to check the box of getting in your cardio for that day. And you're creating the habit. Because it's going to get better after that. So.
Well, we're coming to a close here on the podcast, but I wanted you to kind of talk about your journey right now, what you're doing, kind of fill in your fans and your group about what you're doing and what you're training for right now.
Well, at present, I'm about 4 weeks out from my next bodybuilding competition. So I am really focusing and getting tunnel vision and preparation for that. And I've got a birthday coming up also. But honestly, my focus is for the competition prep. We'll celebrate after the show for my birthday. So getting ready for that and working on an online training program for my fellow women-owned weights out there, my fellow sisters in steel, So
the WOW women, right?
Yes, the WOW women, the women-owned weights. So working on that,
Well, that's awesome, Towanda. As always, I want to make sure that we all know that if you are struggling out there with any mental health issues, there are so many resources for you. There are therapists, there are psychologists, there are psychiatrists out there, but most of all, make sure you reach out to a friend, get some support, get the help that you need. If you are struggling with suicidal or self-harm thoughts, please go directly to the ER. If you can't get to the ER, I want you to call the suicide hotline at 988 and get immediate help, because we want to make sure that you are getting the assistance and the help you need, because we know that with help, you can improve your mood and you can improve your thoughts. Thank you so much for tuning in to Mental Perk this week and our talk with Towanda Smith, professional bodybuilder and fitness trainer. We hope our talk today highlighted real people working through real issues based on mental health. Our goal at Mental Perk is to make sure everyone knows you matter, you're never alone.